Hey Amanda, happy Monday. Sorry I was MIA at the last half. My hair is wild right now. Sorry. I was MIA at the last half of last week. I just came down with like kind of fluish. I wasn't puking. It like may have been like fever plus strep. Like who knows. So I was kind of just like, no, I slept through 2 days and just kind of like lost them. So here I am. I actually still haven't even watched your videos. That's how scattered I've been. Our Wi-Fi has been like in and out. It's just been really sucky. But yeah. What should I talk about today? Yesterday I had to interview Dad for my marriage 101 class. I think I've mentioned a couple times now that one of the assignments that we have to do is interviewing our parents and then writing about their marriage and then discussing how like their marriage has informed our opinion of marriage or like how we will probably function in a marriage, which hopefully is not the case, like learn whatever. So it was interesting slash depressing. I was trying to figure out whether or not Dad is really just like oblivious about like how like his marriage. I don't know, like because I like had to ask him like what the hardest parts of their marriage was and like that kind of stuff, and I expected him to like talk about like communication, since you like obviously know that him and Mom are like on completely different spheres when it comes to talking about their problems. And but no, he just kind of like talked about everything except that, which was interesting. And then it was, I don't know, it was interesting, I guess, because he had his own things, and like parts of it were like very sad. I asked him like what the hardest times in his marriage were, like looking back, like any particular years come to mind. And I was thinking, oh, maybe it was when he got laid off and we were in a lot of financial trouble, and him and Mom were like fighting all the time because for once Mom was the breadwinner of the family, and that like insulted Dad's masculinity, and he was like super insecure about it. But what he said was he thought about it for a little bit and then was like, I feel like there was couple of years, a long couple of years at the beginning of our marriage, that Mom was just waiting for us, or waiting for me to grow up. And I was just like, that's so sad. And he wouldn't like go into any details, but I like kind of thinking about it, like they were my age when they got married, and like they were having kids by Anthony's age. Like I can't even imagine being prepared to be in a marriage right now, and like even less so if I was like a man child like Dad probably was. But anyway, it was really fascinating. I'm gonna email Mom probably this upcoming weekend, however many days from now, 5 days from now, and then I'll have to write a 15-page paper about how I think that them as my model for marriage has informed me as a person. Yikes. um, yeah, it's been yikesy, I will say. Um, but other than that, I don't really have anything to report. I have like kind of a weird courtship with like this rando guy that I keep seeing at Starbucks. Um, like I don't know if I've mentioned him or if you've seen me talking about him on Tumblr, but it's just like everywhere, like every time I go to Starbucks, I see this guy, and he's like kind of cute, but like kind of older seeming, and I thought he was like a grad student, and so we always are like making flirty eyes, and like sometimes we sit across from each other, but we never talked. And then like I ran into him at Trader Joe's a couple weeks ago, and then like finally was like, I see you everywhere, and he's like, yeah, you do. And then I was like, maybe I'll see you later, and he was like, yeah, you probably will. Or actually, that last exchange was thing. He said, maybe I'll see you later, and I said, yeah, you probably will. Um, and then I finally started talking to him, and so like the other day we like finally started talking at Starbucks, and now we kind of like every time we're there together, we like sit by each other and like sometimes chat, and like he's like he has a Polish accent, and he's not a grad student but a doctoral student, which means he's even older. He is 28, and studying for his PhD in economics. But anyway, I don't really know what's going on there. I ran into him yesterday when I went to go see Moby Dick on Sunday, and we wound up like kind of walking home together, and then like tonight we wound up kind of walking home together after we had ran into to each other at Starbucks. It's just like this kind of like weird thing because he's not asking me for my number, he's not asking me out, like nothing. Maybe he's waiting for me to do it, or maybe he's just thinking, oh, this cute little undergrad, like so quaint, thinks I'm interested because he's like 6 years older than me. I don't know how to navigate it. I'll keep you updated on that one. Maybe I'll try and bone him or something. Um, oh God, speaking of, okay, so I was in marriage class today, and I think I said that I like I'm just rambling. Sorry, this video has no point. But I like we were in discussion section, which is like a smaller subset of like the lecture. Like one day a week we have a lecture, and the other set we're like in our groups of like 10 people. And so we were talking about sex and marriage today, and like everyone was talking about like communication problems like in sex, but like a lot of the people in my discussion sections are in relationships, and so a lot of them are coming at it from like the relationship point of view, like, oh, I wish I was like better at like discussing with my partner what like makes me feel good and like this kind of stuff, or like sometimes I have a hard time communicating with my partner like how often we want to have sex or whatever. And so I'm just like sitting here like, I don't know what to add to this conversation. And so my TA calls me out like, oh, Anna, you haven't spoken up yet. Like, what are you thinking about? And I have been thinking about like, well, how to apply this conversation to like a single person. And so like speaking out of my ass, this is what I do without even thinking. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm just kind of thinking about how I wish, and communication is important in hookups too, and it's like a little less accessible because who has the time to like, if it's just a one night stand, like why bother like putting yourself out there and like communicating. But what I'm really wishing is that it's even harder to communicate in when you're single, like that you want a sexual encounter with someone unless there's alcohol involved. I feel like in order for a sexual encounter to happen, like especially on a college campus, you usually get really drunk, it happens, and then you talk about it happening again later. But like it's really hard to just be sober and like initiate a like sexual encounter with someone you might want to have like a random like casual sexual encounter with. Like I wish it was socially acceptable to be like, hey, I really want a dick in my mouth right now. Do you have one available? And it just like came out of my mouth. And like I thought it was kind of funny like when I said it. It just like because that's something that I've like said like either like on Tumblr or to like my roommate or something. Like it's something that I've said before, so it like kind of came out without me thinking, and I've always kind of thought that it was kind of funny. But everyone just kind of sat there and like it was so awkward. So now I'm like the girl who wants a dick in her mouth. And that's where I think I'm going to end this video. I'll see you tomorrow and then talk to you on Wednesday.